Okay, good. All right. Without further ado, let's bring in our friend, Big Z. Zander Krause joins us now.
What's up, Big Sills? Lot going on today, my friend.
Oh, this stuff is made for me, man.
I know it is.
I love this shit, man. I
know.
All right, dude. Well, let me. You know what? Without polluting the question, what'd you make of the whole stuff going on with Vrabel and you know I'll keep it there. What did you make of Vrabel and Diana Rossini when you saw those pictures from the New York Post?
Sit down and get a cup of tea, everybody. I got quite a bit of thoughts on it. Well, I've been thinking about it. You know, I had a Zander time this morning that I kind of went off on. I think personally, I was bothered by it because I just think they're scummy people. That's beside the point. Doesn't mean anything about AJ Brown. Doesn't mean anything really other than that. I think they're scummy people. And as far as the Eagles and AJ Brown, though, where I think we get into the football part of it, my take that's differing from others is I actually believe this helps the Eagles.
Huh. I thought so too.
Yeah, I believe this helps the Eagles because, you know, everybody's been talking about AJ getting traded and there's not a lot of suitors. And you and I have talked about that as well. And, you know, you have this reporter who has tied the Patriots to the trade more than any other reporter. I'm not saying that no other reporters are saying AJ Brown wants out. I'm not even here to tell you that AJ Brown, it's all fake. It's not. It's real. But the number one reporter who has tied the New England Patriots to the trade for AJ Brown has been Diana Rossini. It's been consistent. It started back in October of last year when she was on a Patriots podcast and said to New England fans, keep your eyes on AJ Brown. Okay? So she has been the number one person as the pariah of AJ Brown to the Patriots. Well, now
Vrabel probably told her in conversation, I'd love to get that kid back here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I think, you know, how many times have you heard, oh, the Eagles better take what they can get? Even I've said that. The Eagles better take what they can get because they're not going to get much more. Well, now if you're Howie Roseman, I mean, I'm sitting there and saying, you come to me. You want AJ Brown, you come to me or don't come at all with what I want. Because the Eagles never wanted to trade AJ Brown. AJ Brown is the one who wants to be traded from the Eagles. We've already talked about how there's a lack of suitors for this trade. The only person who's been gassing up it to the Patriots, and this is my big problem with it from an integrity standpoint about the reporting, is the number one person who's talked about the Eagles and the Patriots is in cahoots with the head coach of the team. I mean, if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. Again, I'm not disputing that AJ Brown might be unhappy or might want out, but I mean, that's a serious conflict of interest to me. Now, the other part of it is I think Eagle fans have been gaslit, you know, on this thing a little bit, you know, and I get it's a strong word here, but AJ wants out. Patriots are calling. The trade is inevitable. June 1st, everybody, pay attention. And every time an Eagles fan said, I don't buy it, or where's this coming from, or any questions on the sourcing, you know, we basically, me included, have said they're reliable sources. You know, it's good. He does want out. Well, turns out the reporter who's the leader of it is on a vacation with the head coach of the team that they want that she's reporting he wants to go to.
Well, I think that's a reliable source.
I'm not saying it's not reliable. What I'm saying is, what are that person's motives?
What do you think? What you're saying? Say it. Finish it. She wants to be first.
Yeah, but it's not only about that.
It is about that.
Mike Vrabel could be sitting there trying to use her as a way to create leverage for the Patriots.
You're talking
to get
about
a New York Times.
You're talking about a New York Times problem. The New York Times has to figure it out if it's a conflict of interest, Zander. They have to figure that out.
No, yeah, but even forget
if the NFL. You don't think the NFL and how? Wait, do you think Bob Lang uses WIP and all other outlets in the Philadelphia Eagle to get a narrative out?
Yes, they do. And I'm not denying that. What I'm
So if a head
denying,
coach is banging a chick and he wanted to get a narrative out, you think he'd have any kind of, especially a guy who's fucking allegedly somebody that's a reporter? You don't think a guy
yeah, but
would
no,
have more?
okay, that's not my point though. My point is more that if that person is romantically engaged or hanging out in a hot tub at a hotel 2 hours away. I mean,
Okay.
by the way, let's just call a spade here. Yeah, it's alleged. Find me a person who drives 2 hours to go to a couple's exclusive resort hotel to hang out on a rooftop and in a hot tub.
Bro, I thought it was the NFL owners meetings thing. It wasn't.
I mean, 2 hours. Yeah, let me drive 2 hours without my spouse to go hang out with a dude at a hot. I mean, holy shit. But again,
I'm not questioning that. I think that is, you're right. I'm not saying
no,
that.
but my point about Diana is if there is anything there where she has anything with Mike Vrabel and Mike Vrabel wants to get AJ Brown, you don't believe that Diana Russini now can't be trusted with the way she refers to the AJ Brown interest? I'm not saying AJ doesn't want out. What I'm saying is, how do we know that this is as real as it is on the Patriots?
Here's the problem, but this is a New York Times problem. The New York Times has to figure this out because you're right. If you're banging Mike Vrabel, and this is all alleged, you're banging Mike Vrabel. She talks to Les Snead or Kevin Demoff with the Rams. All of a sudden, she puts a story out, or she starts talking to those guys going, yeah, the Patriots really didn't like the guy because they thought that he may have knee injuries. He may have some issues. And you spread that narrative around, and all of a sudden, the Rams pull out because they're concerned about a medical. Maybe she said that to drive him away. And what else, too? Drive the market down.
Right.
The less people. Now, that is an integrity issue. There's no question. But Zander, when I hear the Rams go, yeah, we tried to make a trade for him, and I hear Ian Rappaport go, they're going to trade him June 1. And I hear Adam Schefter saying, they're not fucking him. They're not fucking her too. I mean, they're those guys.
Well, who knows?
Hey, I agreed. And again, nothing would shock me. But at the end of the day here, everyone's got an agenda on something. They want to be first.
Yeah, you see, I think it's maybe she wants to be first, and maybe she wants to help her, her mistress out, or whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Yeah, well, my job is more important than
it's like, you want to make an offer on a house, all right, and the seller won't come off the price. All right, let me call my realtor. Let me get a couple people. Let me figure out ways to create leverage so that the price comes to where I want it to come to. That's all I'm saying. Now the source who's been feeding to us, who's supposed to be a source that reports, has been proven to be compromised by the team that she is saying the Eagles and are in conversations with. It's completely against the reporting. And my perspective on it is take anything Diana Russini has to say and throw it the fuck out, because I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't really give a shit about it, especially when it comes to the New England Patriots. I think it's bullshit. It's crock shit.
You think everything she reports from now on's a lie?
That's not what I said.
Okay, then what are you saying?
I'm saying that she cannot be trusted with narratives, with motives, or with the brokering of information in the proper way.
Isn't that reporting?
Dude, if she's sleeping with Mike Vrabel,
I just asked,
hypothetically,
do you think she can be trusted on her reports anymore?
With the Patriots? No.
With anybody?
Well, if she has information, the information could be good, sure.
Wait.
What I think you're missing, what I'm saying is,
I am.
She can create
a way. I'm not defending her.
Or a message or a narrative that permeates, that benefits the Patriots more than it benefits the Eagles, which creates more leverage for the Patriots, i.e. the guy she's, sitting in a hot tub with, as compared to the Eagles. This isn't a report of a guy who has information on both teams and says there's conversation here. It's not that anymore. That's not what it is.
Why? I want you to dive deeper into this too. Do you know who the head of? There's 5 guys that are on the head of the National Football League's television negotiations. Do you know Bob Kraft is also on that? And that's going to be one of the biggest stories on the planet, the renegotiation of TV contracts.
I believe it. I mean, by the way, I
This
see it
goes
in the
beyond
chat.
just A.J. Brown here, you know.
100%. And by the way, I mean, I see it in the chat. It's like, is there a level of tampering that can be asked here? I mean, by
She don't
the
work
NFL,
for the league.
huh?
She don't work for the league. She don't work for the Patriots.
Oh, Mike Vrabel does, my friend.
Okay, well, you're under the assumption Mike Vrabel told her something.
Well, all right, you're right. I mean, I guess
Again,
they'd have to prove that.
This is why I asked you, do you believe anything she says moving forward in any report, not just a Patriots report?
My question is, what does the NFL
Because I question her gathering too now. But again, Zander, I always take these people at less than face value. Because I mean, we had an issue here in Philadelphia three weeks ago. Reporters had a story like 5-6 days in advance, and no one told them because they told them not to. And I think reporters all have agendas, and all of them, they don't speak to their audiences anymore. There's an agenda. Her agenda happens to be an immoral agenda, and how she gathers her information.
Yeah, and again, like you said, I don't really care. I mean, you know, about her personal.
But no, it does, because you know what? You're taking these folks at face value. See, I'm not surprised.
Right. And they're supposed to be unbiased. They're supposed to be unslanted. And that's my point.
Are you surprised they're not unbiased and unslanted?
I'm not surprised by it, no. But I mean, I'm going to have an opinion on it. And I think Diana Russini, I mean, like you said earlier, this will be a bigger hit on her career than anything that me and you can talk about today. And that's on her. And that's something that she's going to have to live with. So that's on her. I don't really give a shit about her personally. I think she's a scumbag. I would never do business with her or Mike Vrabel for that matter. But
absolutely. Okay. But here, I mean, moving forward here, Rachel Nichols, remember her, the reporter for the NBA?
Yeah. When's the last time you heard from her?
Where's Joy Taylor?
Jack, you're right.
Okay. This is going to play out this way because here's what's going to happen. Here's this, again, this is a talk show host talking, all right, Zander? Diana Russini walks into the Philadelphia Eagles locker room, right? You got married dudes inside that locker room. You think the organization's going to allow some chick to be walking around ponying up with guys, making it even if, get this, those pictures were not a good look, even if they were innocent. Yeah. Let's just pretend. You don't want any innuendo around players. They already got enough of that shit.
I agree. And by the way, I mean, we've talked about reporters today. I get such a kick out of this because, boy, an athlete can fucking step wrong. An athlete can get a ticket for a stop sign. An athlete can do one thing wrong, and I get it, it's their job, and they jump on that shit. But the minute one of them goes out of bounds and tarnishes, by the way, not only the integrity of Diana Russini, but tarnishes the integrity of every reporter who covers the National Football League, especially the women reporters, and they're all mom.
Well, no.
Not one retweet. By the way, I have all their notifications on my ex. They retweet everything. They don't. Not one retweet from one of them about Diana Russini shacking up with Mike Vrabel in a hot tub.
What do you think is more egregious? Jeff McClain giving you the innuendo that Jalen Hurts has to be spoken through by the media, or what has been going on with Diana Russini? That's a narrative. Diana Rossini's reporting is true. Her gathering is what's being questioned here. And again, Zander, I don't want anybody on the planet to think I'm giving that chick a hall pass. I'm not.
No, I get where you're coming from.
This is going to play out, though, for her in her career.
Yeah, it will. And again, that'll all handle itself. I mean, I do think, still, in all seriousness, I think the NFL might have to step in here. I mean, think about it.
For what? And do what?
Think about it. You have the biggest NFL report, one of the biggest NFL reporters on the planet, and certainly the biggest at Athletic. Okay.
And I would make the argument she's probably the biggest female reporter in the NFL.
100%. I agree. And, you know, she's reported quite a bit of things here on the New England Patriots. And now it's coming out that she's hanging out with them 2 hours away in Sedona, Arizona. I mean, if you're the NFL, you can't create a narrative. You can't have a narrative that exists where everything is basically colluded. There's nothing that's real. There's nothing. Everything is manufactured in some regard. So if you're the NFL, if you're Roger Goodell, I mean, you got to call the Athletic and say, dude, your lead reporter can't be shacking up with the head coach that she's reporting on all offseason. It's a bad look for her. It's a bad look for you. And more importantly, it's a bad look on this $1 trillion empire that we have. So either fix it or she's done.
Fix it how? Fire her?
Maybe.
I'll tell you this.
If I were the president of Athletic, I'd fire her.
I'll tell you this. I had a story on the Glazers in 2011 it was around when they bought Manchester United. I said that they used hedge fund money from Indonesia because I had a friend of mine on Wall Street. You know, they called my bosses and I was suspended for 3 days over that. Suspended for 3 days over that. Okay? Because of a narrative they didn't want out. Now, the narrative would be here is that she's getting personal intel from a league team. That's the only thing that I could see. And if Mike Vrabel, and she got Mike Vrabel in trouble, Patriots could lose their first round pick this year.
Potentially. I don't know if that's the case or not. You know, I think Mike Vrabel, by the way, I think Mike Vrabel's a scumbag too. I mean, what the fuck's he doing?
And listen,
Listen,
for all those guys being put in a position like that in public like that, that just shows you right there. Don't ever be in a position like that unless you got a lot of folks around you.
Yeah.
Where you're going to be in a position like this. So the only people that I think would be in trouble is Mike Vrabel, not Diana Russini. Now Russini would be with the
Athletic, obviously. Yeah, I mean the NFL.
With the Athletic, okay.
Doesn't work there.
But Mike Vrabel might be in trouble with the league if he did give her intel sources.
Yeah, I agree. But you know, somebody said to me this morning, they're like, "Well, what's the NFL going to do?" Similar to what you just said, and you know, NFL makes one call to the executive at the Athletic and says, "You don't fix this. We're revoking the press credentials of the Athletic." Guess what? That little statement they put out in support of Diana Russini will be put through the paper shredder faster than you can blink.
Here's a story on how I got fired in Tampa. The Tampa Bay, the iHeart came out and said after I said the monkey thing, they were in full support of me. It was a mistake. Everything was this. The Bucks called the next day. I was fired.
Exactly right. So,
and they put out a statement. They put out a statement for me. Apologizes, and I did. I was like,
and by the way, I mean, look, you know, I get it. It's a weird talk show today because we got to talk about one of these. You know, it's a tough.
Well, it ties into an important piece in your future.
It does, but it is a weird thing to talk about, you know, because I saw someone say, "Oh, Zander never sins." I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to come off like that. I get it. It sounds self-righteous. I'm not that. I'm not professing to be that. Believe me, I sin more than I'd like to.
Zander, you don't have to quantify being a good dude.
No, I'm not quantifying it, but you know, I'm going to pile on, so I'm prefacing it. Diana Russini has quite a bit of this in her past as well, which I was unaware of. Okay. There was a Commander's general manager's wife who came out publicly and said the information she was getting on the Commanders back in 2016 or 17 or 18 or one of these years was from because she was sleeping with the general manager of the Redskins at the time. Okay. Now she was also covering Vrabel through the years at the Tennessee Titans, and quite a bit of the people who are covering that had something to say about this shindig. So I'm just saying, you know, if the source is completely delegitimized, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
How do you think this affects the A.J. Brown trade?
I think the Eagles have a little more leverage. I really believe that. Because I don't think there's a team out there. First off, I've always said that I don't see a lot of suitors for this trade to begin with. You know, now you have a PR nightmare that the Patriots are going to have to deal with, you know, with this if they were to trade for A.J. Brown. So I think they're the ones who are going to have to pony up, not the Eagles. I mean, technically, if you think about it, Howie can
this might push the Patriots to push that one across the line.
Potentially. And Howie can just sit there on his hands because remember, he doesn't want to trade A.J. Brown to begin with. You know, now he might feel like he should because of all the things that have unfolded, but you know, I'm sitting tight right now if I'm Howie Roseman. And the point you made earlier was correct. I mean, Howie's not going to make a decision for the Eagles because of a relationship between Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini. That's not going to happen. But, the optics of it are at play. They do matter. It will impact a little bit, I think, how it's seen and how it plays out. I don't know how it's going to play out yet, but, we will find that out.
Scott McLaughlin, James, did get fired for DUI, but Xander's right. That story was tied into her.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story. I just read that.
It was the guy was like falling apart. The general manager, he was falling apart down there, and then that's how Bruce Allen got in there.
Again, so the information might be good, but don't you get my point of
yes?
If the Patriots obviously want AJ Brown, they have the burden, right? Because it's like if you have what I want, I have to pry that away from you, or I have to it's value exchange. This is simple stuff. If I have something of value, a phone, and you want to pay for it, you have to give me cash or something to get it in return. If the Patriots want the player and they want something in return, and the person who's leading the narratives that have been permeated all summer throughout the NFL about that player going to New England has been shacked up or hanging out with the coach or whatever, doing whatever, who knew, God knows what, that to me makes me wonder, all right, I mean, is that one-sided? Is that being reported to benefit the Patriots, who there's a clear interest there for Diana as compared to how it would be for the Eagles?
It's a great question.
That part of it to me is
this is what you're doing right here. This is a great question. This is what you're talking about right here. Look.
Yeah, there you go.
What this guy just wrote here, right? If you question her methods, you're questioning her message, correct? It's great take, Jumbo.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The only reason why I buy that it's 1,000% even more validified, like John did today, verified, is because the general manager of the Rams said that there were talks about trading for AJ Brown, and that Ian Rappaport and these other guys, dude, these other guys are not fucking banging the guy. Like
I get that, but Howie's been open about that. Howie's like, yeah, we take calls on everybody all the time.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, doesn't this muddy those?
This was Les Snead saying that they did talk about trading for him.
Yes, they did. I mean, but again, Howie also admitted that, so that's not news to me at all.
Right, but it's verifying the facts that her story. There's smoke to this. And
and I'm not denying the smoke. What I'm denying
see, you got a problem with this person's character and their approach to their job to get.
I do, but that's actually not what I'm talking about here.
But okay. Well, then why
it's more about the Patriots. It's about the Patriots.
Okay, it's about the Patriots. So you're not upset with her reporting?
Well, I think she's a shit. I mean, a shit. I think what she did is really shitty.
Okay. Her reporting, the story itself on the reporting. Do you have a problem with the story?
Well, let me ask you this before I answer. Do you believe that AJ Brown and the ties to specifically the Patriots, not the Rams, not any of these other teams, specifically the Patriots, do you believe that narrative has been distributed across the NFL ether differently than the other teams that have been mocked? You've heard about teams that AJ wants to go to. You've heard a little bit about the Rams, but the number one team that we've really heard a lot about is the Patriots. You agree with that?
I do, but I want to put context to that. Mike Vrabel never wanted him to be traded in the first place. Mike Vrabel wanted to draft him. Mike Vrabel and him had a rough but understanding relationship. There's respect between the two guys, and they've known each other his entire career. He was the guy that drafted him in the first round, along with the old GM there.
Yeah, but just because Mike Vrabel wants him,
you don't think there's more of a relationship?
No, there is. I agree. But again, that you could also take that as Diana's doing things to get Mike Vrabel what he wants. But there might not be two-sided interest there.
No one's debating that. You're debating her method of intel.
It's like any of you dudes who had a wingman back in the day. It's like chick don't want you, so you send your wingman in to try and get, hey, yeah, go and talk me up a little bit. It's like, bro, give it up. Honey doesn't want you, bro. Mike Vrabel sending Diana in to try and soften the pot for AJ
Here's my
Brown to
problem
land in
with what's
New
happened
England.
today.
Instead, she should just tell him it ain't happening.
Everyone's coming off the top rope on her, assuming that it's dented the story somehow. It hasn't.
Well, look, AJ Brown was unhappy before Arizona, and he's unhappy after. That part of it doesn't change. Again, the whole Patriots part to me is now muddy.
You think it's dirty now?
It's dirty. It's 100% dirty.
That's what it is.
It's unequivocally dirty.
Now here, let me add this into now AJ. Let's go to AJ Owens now. Boy, man.
Buttercup AJ.
This is a lot to do with him again. This is a story about him. Nobody would care in Philadelphia that Diana Russini was banging Mike Vrabel if this wasn't about AJ Brown, correct? You wouldn't give a shit about Diana Russini banging someone if AJ Brown's name wasn't involved in this story.
Well, I would certainly say she tarnished her credibility. Absolutely, whether the Eagles were involved in this or not. Yeah,
but AJ Brown's involved with it, and AJ Brown's involved in this. This is an AJ Brown story too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because
aren't you tired of the noise this guy brings to your team?
I mean, look, Diana Russini has been a pretty good reporter in terms of, she's one of the lead people around the NFL.
Top woman.
Maybe this is because I'm just in Philly, but the number one thing I've seen her being talk about and being referenced on national shows and on talk shows is the AJ Brown story.
Okay.
I mean, that's been her claim to fame for the last 6 months. I'm not saying that's all she does or she's not, doesn't
all of this shit up and made all of this shit churn next to the fucking propellers. One guy, your star whining receiver, has made all this noise for the last 2 fucking years.